Okay, so the day is finally here. Time to bottle this apple cider wine. Hello everyone, this is Dwayne with Edge of Nowhere Farm, and we're coming to you here today. It is November 2019. So we're right before Thanksgiving, and if you guys have been following us along, you know that we've been making our apple cider wine since, well, June. So for the last 5, going on 6 months, we've been working on this wine, and today we are finally getting it into the bottle so it can finally age before we officially have our wine. So what we want to do today is we want to go ahead and wrap up the series, show you how we're going to go ahead and get this bottled up, and then of course we're going to taste the final product. So obviously we're bottling, so the first thing we need is we will need a bottle. Everything again you see here we have in our Amazon shop, so you guys can take a peek at that. But we do have a bottle here, we've got one of our labels on there. Next thing it would be a cork. Now we like to use the number 8 corks. You can use a number 8 or a number 9 cork with these bottles. We prefer the number 8 cork. We've had no issues with it whatsoever. A little bit easier as far as getting the cork in, and we've had no issues with it coming back out. So a number 8 cork. And then we have a corker. So this is a double hand corker. I'll show you how this is used here in just a moment. And then potassium metabisulfite. So that is actually for sanitation. So that's sanitizing what you see behind me here, which would be all the bottles that we're going to be bottling today. So now one thing I do have to admit, when it comes to sanitation, we're not super critical on sanitizing everything throughout this entire process. We do in the very beginning, we do use Camden tablets to sanitize the wines. And then this is about the only other time we really are strict on sanitation. So we have the bottles pre-sanitized, that's already done. And then we do have all of the corks inside the sanitizer solution. So that's what you'll see behind me as well. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get one of the bottles and we'll show you exactly how you use this big mouth bubbler to get these filled. Okay, so I have my bottle. What's nice about this particular version of the Big Mouth Bubbler, it does have a spigot on there, which is going to make, of course, filling these bottles much, much easier. Now, you can use siphons to do that. Our first couple batches of wine, we did that, and I can tell you it's kind of a pain in the tail. So definitely worth investing in one of these. It's a couple bucks more than the one without it. So you'll see that here in just a moment. Sanitized bottle, so I have a sanitized bottle. I always give it one last shake before I'm going to fill it. And then we do need to make sure we're taking our stopper off. So airlock comes off, that way air can come through and allow this to completely drain out. So now what we're doing is we're going to shoot for basically getting the wine right up to the top of the neck of the bottle. You're going to need to give it a little bit of space because it does need to breathe just a bit. Part of that first day or so, you'll leave the bottles standing up to allow air to escape past the cork and then turn them on their side. However, we want to make sure that we don't have any serious pressure down in here that can't be released. So we do give it just a little bit of space. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this filled. You'll be able to see right here, all I'm going to do is basically just slide this up. I do want the wine to kind of slide down on the side of the bottle just to cut down on any air bubbles. I turn the spigot on and this will fill up pretty quick. I'm going to get it most of the way filled. You can see some air coming in and that'll back down. So now as far as the amount, so you can see those air bubbles will dissipate pretty quick, and we're gonna let it sit here for just a minute. But you can see about where I'm at. Hopefully you can get this on camera, but essentially we've got the top of the bottle or where the neck basically ends and basically starts to flare out. That's where I've got the wine filled to. So we've got one bottle down, several more bottles to go. so we got all of the bottles filled. We wound up with just under 26 bottles. So this last one's gonna have one of these manual stoppers. We're gonna hang on to that one. Obviously, it'll be the first one that Lori and I have. And that one really kind of is the dregs. So we always kind of like to leave that last bottle that's kind of the bottom of the barrel set aside for us to drink first, because you're gonna get maybe some sediment, that type of thing. If there's any of that in there, that's gonna be in that bottom bottle. So I've got that one set aside for us. And then I've got 25 bottles ready to go as far as corking. So when I walk you guys through this double hand corker, very, very easy to use. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of talk you through it, and then I'll actually show you how it's done. It's a lot easier with 2 people. You can do it with 1 person, but it's easier with 2. So what I like to do is have the bottle on a surface where it's gonna be very easy for me to have easy or even consistent pressure coming down on top. You'll see that here in just a minute. So what you do is you take a cork. I like them to soak inside our sanitation liquid so that they're nice and sanitized, and they're a little bit slick because you want to have them a little bit wet so that they actually slide into the bottle easier. All you do is take that cork that's nice and slick. It slides right in here into this slot, and then what you'll do is you'll just basically take the bottom part is actually shaped very similar to the bottle itself. So you'll take that, set it right down on top where the cork's gonna go in, and then you'll see here there are 2 arms that are gonna come through and grab the bottle, and then with even consistent pressure, you're gonna push straight down. Now, I'm gonna have my lovely assistant help me out so we can actually show you how easy it is to put this cork in. Again, easier to have somebody else helping you with this, but you're gonna see, I'm just gonna slide this right down here. I'm gonna clamp those 2 arms onto the bottle, and then nice, even, consistent pressure, and you get a corked bottle that's ready to go. Okay, so you can see how easy that was. Now we've got 24 more bottles to do, so Lori and I are gonna go ahead and go through, get all these corked, and come back to you with the final product. Okay, so that's it. We have our Apple Cider Wine, vintage 2019 from Edge of Nowhere Farm, so it's ready to go. So we got 25 good solid bottles of this wine. Beautiful white wine, it's nice and clear. I really like the way this wine turned out. You know, one of the things I didn't mention in the beginning, we do give this a week after back sweetening, just to make sure that we don't kickstart fermentation or re-kickstart fermentation, and we would know because we'd have bubbling. And even though I have some air bubbling that comes up as I'm putting wine into the bottle, I can see that it doesn't continue, it goes completely flat as soon as it settles for about 5-10 seconds. So we know that we're not gonna have an issue. However, one thing that we do is we will keep those just like that, so we won't touch them. We're gonna leave these standing up for 24 hours. So until tomorrow night, they'll stay right where they're at. We just wanna make sure we can let any air, you press air basically into this small space here, and there's some pressure in there that can build up when you cork a bottle. So we want to allow air to escape through. It does get through that cork. That's one of the reasons why you want to keep your bottles on their sides so that you actually don't have that air gap there. However, for the next 24 hours, we'll leave it because we do want to make sure that any air that we pressed into there in that space gets a chance to escape. And then of course, we'll turn all the bottles on their side, which is where they will sit. Now, of course, how long do you let it sit? In the end, we did back sweeten this, so that kind of resets the start date as far as the aging on the bottle. So essentially, we're in November of 2019. So the reality is we'll probably be drinking this wine for Thanksgiving next year. However, I am gonna have a little bit tonight because we do have that little partial bottle. So I think we're still gonna have a little bit of this just to make sure it tastes okay. So just want to thank you for joining us today. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. Questions or comments, leave those in the comment section down below. Instagram and Facebook, we post content there you won't see here on the YouTube channel. And our Amazon shop, I'll leave a link down in the description. That's a free, painless way to help support the channel. If you start with that link, it doesn't matter what you buy, you help to support us here. So we just want to thank you for joining us today and remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere, so can you. We got all of those corked, so we have a total of 20.
We didn't cork those.
We didn't cork them. Yeah. Okay, have another drink, Dwayne. I don't think this is enough. Just saying, because I got to share with you. There's no way this is enough. Ooh, yeah, that's good. Ooh, nice and strong. It's the back of the tongue. That's good.